Alright, what's up guys? So today I'm coming back with another Urza's AI video. This time though, we are not having it create its own cards. We are giving it text prompt, as in the name of cards that already exist, and seeing what it comes up with. If you like this type of content, make sure you press the like button, subscribe to this channel. Helps me a whole lot. I'm trying to get to 500 if you want to help me with that. And yeah, let me know what you think about what AI thinks of these cards. And we'll kind of also go through a little bit of like possibly what the AI is thinking when it's making these cards. I think that would also be a decent idea. Anyways, the first card name I put in was Demonic Tutor. As you all know, Demonic Tutor is a black sorcery that lets you search your library for a card and put it into your hand. Pretty powerful, pretty busted actually. But the AI, according to AI, it's a 2 and a blue creature, zombie wizard, 2/3. When Demonic Tutor enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of target opponent's library, where X is the number of zombies on the battlefield. Now, you don't get to do anything with those cards. You just get to look at them. And you get to look at how many there are depending on how many zombies you have, which I mean is important. It's good information knowing what's on top of your opponent's deck. If you have any milling effects, Lantern of Insight, Saw Play. But I think this card is objectively much, much weaker than the real Demonic Tutor. But let's think about this. Demonic Tutor, why would it think it's a creature? I mean, Demonic Tutor sounds like a creature, right? Because a tutor is a person, so it's like, okay, demonic tutor. It makes sense for it to be a zombie wizard, right? So I guess the AI was like, okay, no, we're just gonna have it be just some guy who teaches you in the dark arts, And the flavor text, don't you go there. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but you can kind of see the AI takes demonic tutor, and turns into something that it thinks it is. And if Demonic Tutor was never printed, this would make sense for a card called Demonic Tutor. Maybe with a different effect though. Alright, now we have Soul Ring. It's a 1-mana artifact. You got that part right. But 1 mana tap to tap target artifact, creature, or land. This flavor text. There is no good word for what Soul Ring is. I mean, sure. There's no good word for what Soul Ring is. I don't get that. I guess there's no good word for what Soul Ring is. So, but let's talk about this card. Its effects for one and a colorless, or for one colorless and tap, you get to tap target artifact, creature, or land. This is the effect of Rishadan Port, except this lets you tap artifacts and creatures instead of just lands. While yeah, and I think Rishadan Port's a great card. It sees play in Legacy. To port down your opponents to deny them mana. I think Soul Ring, this version of Soul Ring, would definitely see play in Legacy and might actually get banned in Legacy because tapping down someone's land turn after turn after turn, especially if you have land destruction effects, denying the mana could be very important in sort of a stacks type of deck. So yeah, the Soul Ring probably a little less powerful than actual Soul Ring, but still like an 8 out of 10, honestly. Very strong card. Alright, Counter Spell. As we know, real Counter Spell, it counters a spell, and it's an instant speed spell, so this gets that correct. Counter Spell, 1 and a blue. Instant. Counter Spell deals 3 damage to target creature. Scry 1. I don't even think this is even in blue's color pie. To deal 3 damage to a creature? That's not something blue can do. That's like a red spell. And the fact that Counter Spell deals 3 damage to a creature and lets you scry 1, which is actually a decent effect. Like, this card's good. It's like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Being that it's in blue and blue doesn't get this often, it would probably be like an 8 out of 10. But it just doesn't make sense for the card name Counterspell, and it's not really in blue's color pie. But I still like this card a lot. Belief is contagious. You can spread it from one to many. It's true. If you have belief, and other people around you might have belief too. It's contagious, yeah. Sweet card, not the real Counterspell though. Dude, this is sweet. Black Lotus is a black card. It's like Demonic Tutor got turned into a black card. Black Lotus from an artifact to a creature. It's 3 and a black for a creature, human peasant. No relation to the actual Black Lotus. But this is sweet. 4 mana, 3/3. Decent. About a 3 out of 10 by itself, but its effect. When Black Lotus comes to life, a force is put into the soup. And at the end of the war, Bant kept his oath to never take the command again. Man, that's such a good effect. Such a powerful effect. Such a strong effect. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I have no idea what this means, what it's talking about, but I do think it's really cool how the AI saw Black Lotus and thought, oh, we'll make it a black card. That's really cool, actually. I kind of like that. Flavor text. When 1,000 trees die, one lives on. It's true. Anyways, this card's about a 4 out of 10. Very different than the real Black Lotus. But, you know, let's actually see if we put in Mox Ruby. That's one of the Moxes. Let's see if we'll put that in, if it gives us a mana rock. Because Soul Ring, it did not give us a mana rock. Black Lotus was nothing like Black Lotus. I wonder, there's so many Mox in that I wonder if we put in Mox Ruby, if it'll give us a mana rock. Hey, Mox Ruby, it's a Goblin Shaman. 1 in a red, tap to add red. Hey, it has the effect of Mox Ruby, correct? And then it taps for red. Honestly, this is a pretty damn good card. 1 in a red for a Goblin, it taps to add a red. Don't know if that's in red's color pie. However, I think this card is sweet. I would love to play this card in like a Goblins deck. Play this on turn 2. It's really similar to like Landwar Elves. And I kind of dig that Mox Ruby is a Goblin Landwar Elves. That's really cool. It got that Ruby mint red. Mox, it got the Mox mint, the tap to add mana. It just got it as a Goblin because, of course, if something is red, it has to be a Goblin. And it's a 1/1 creature. It's a decent card. This is nowhere near as good as Mox Ruby, but I'd say it was 6, 7 out of 10. We'll go with that. The reason I'm giving it such high is because red doesn't really have... if this were a green card, it'd be like a 4 out of 10. But since it's a red card, it would get a 6 out of 10 because red doesn't have as many effects that ramp on creatures. It doesn't have mana dorks. So this would probably be... This is the best red mana dork. And it's a mediocre green one because red just doesn't have access to that. Alright, for card number 6, we have Primeval Titan. 3 green creature dinosaur. When it enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. 2 mana. Remove a 1/1 counter from it to create a 1/1 green giant creature token. Now, which is really interesting, I like the idea of 1/1 green giants. I like the idea of a giant being a 1/1. That's kind of cute. I love that. I love that Primeval Titan is a dinosaur instead of a giant. They did get the green giant right, but not in the creature's text box. They got it being a 6/6 correct. Actually, it's a 10/10 because it enters with 4 1/1 counters on it. And you can pay 2 to remove a counter to create a 1/1. It's a decent card. It's nowhere near as good as actual Primeval Titan, which is about like a 9 out of 10 card. This is probably like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. But still sweet, and I still like how you can see like the similar things between real Primeval Titan and what the AI takes from it. I would love a card that does the exact same thing as real Primeval Titan, but it'd be a dinosaur. That'd be sweet. Stoneforge Mystic, no! What did they do to you, Stoneforge Mystic? No! So Stoneforge Mystic, the real card, lets you search your library for an equipment, put it into your hand, and then has a way to cheat it into play. This Stoneforge Mystic is 1 and a white. It taps to add a colorless and is a 1/1. You know, I think white... The white doesn't have mana dork, so this is fine. It's a white mana dork. That already makes it a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Because white doesn't really get those very often. So you're really like a mono white commander deck. This is decent. But it's nowhere near as good as the real Stoneforge Mystic. And that's sad. It has nothing to do... It has the human cleric part. No, Stoneforge Mystic is a core cleric, right? Something like that. Anyways, it gets the mana cost right. It gets the cleric part right, but the effect is total. It's way off. All right. So you're number 8, Nicolas Bolas, 2 and a black for a 2/2 goblin. Now, of course, Nicolas Bolas originally was a dragon and became a dragon planeswalker. This is a goblin. Don't think Nicolas Bolas was ever a goblin. It says, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature, it loses. When this creature dies, sacrifice it. I have no idea what that means. I don't know. So, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature, so the creature loses when this creature dies, sacrifice it. So, does that mean you get to keep the creature forever? I don't know. I guess, does it mean the creature gets indestructible? Probably not. I have no idea what this card does. I didn't get anything right about Nicolas Bolas at all. You see in the art, see kind of like a dragon, but I don't know. It's like, hey, here Nicolas Bolas, now a goblin. Okay, cool. The Nicolas Bolas made their latest hit last. It didn't stop. Not even near as bad as that first time. What? 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 Excuse me? Alright, we'll go to another one. Alright, this is card number 9, I think. Ugen the Spirit Dragon. 3 blue. I guess if Ugen wasn't colorless, he would be blue, so that kind of makes sense. Creature Dragon. I'm glad it got that right. Being that dragon was in the card's name, I'm glad it got dragon right. And it's a 5/5, so decent stats. It has flying. 5 mana, 5/5 flying. Not bad. That's pretty decent and limited. Already a 4 out of 10. But it has whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player mills 4 cards. Alright, a little mill enabler. I kind of like that. It could be a downside if your opponent wants to mill themselves, then you're letting them mill themselves. But if you're getting in for 5 damage with a flying dragon, then that's already good enough. I'd say this is about 5 out of 10. Nothing spectacular. I'm just really surprised. I'm really happy, actually, that it got dragon correct and that it's blue, because that makes the most sense Ugen flavor-wise. And the flavor text, the match begins. Okay. Alright. But yeah, I like this card. Ugen the Spirit Dragon. The last card we get is something very different than the actual card. It's Wrath of God. 4 red sorcery. Each player chooses a creature they control. Each of those creatures deals damage equal to the number of creatures they control to the player who controls the chosen creature. Alright, so hold on. Each player chooses a creature they control. Okay, so I have like a 1/1, a 2/2, and 3/3. Let's say I choose a 3/3, okay? Each of those creatures deals damage equal to the number of creatures they control to a player who controls the chosen creature. So everyone takes damage equal to the number of creatures they control. This is really interesting. I don't know how this works. Wrath of God. I don't know how the AI thought of something like this. But basically, I think what this says is each player gets dealt damage by one of their creatures equal to the number of creatures they control. So you play this against a tokens deck, that tokens player might be taking 20 damage from all the tokens they control. While if you're playing control, you choose a creature you control. Okay, I don't have any, or I have 1. You take 1 damage. So this is kind of sweet, actually. And I think would be funny with this is Forbidden Orchard, where you give your opponents 1/1s and then play this card, and then your opponents just take tons of damage from their tokens, or just anything that gives your opponents creatures. This would be super sweet in that. I actually kind of like this card. I don't know how good it is. I like it conceptually. I don't think it's very good. 6 mana is a lot of mana, so I don't think it's that great, but I think it's a sweet card nonetheless. So I'll give it a 5 out of 10, and yeah. Wrath of God, a red card that deals damage to you instead of a white wrath. Interesting. The chosen bows fight with the sword of the third to the last. Not the second, not the first to last, but they fight with the sword of the third to the last. Alright, that's good to know. And let's do one last one. Alright, and the last card is Dark Ritual. It's a black card. It got that part right. I guess the dark, part of it. Sorcery. I think Dark Ritual is an instant, so it got that it's instant or sorcery, correct. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Paying 4 mana for that, I think, is absolute garbage. You want to pay 1 mana for that. 1 mana for this effect is Raise Dead. That's decent. but 4 mana for this effect, no good. I'll give it a 2 out of 10. Not a ritual at all. Does not make you mana. But I guess like a ritual is like something, like performed by like, practitioners of like a religion. So like maybe the dark ritual is something that brings a creature back to life. If this said return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, that would be crazy good. But it says to your hand, so nowhere near as good. A 2 out of 10. And it says exhaustion is a byproduct of a long and tedious illness. Coreless farmhand. Okay. Anyways, thank you very much for checking this video out. I hope you liked this. I hope you had fun seeing what the AI thinks of magic card names, and I hope you found some cards that you like from here. I don't know. My favorite was Nicolas Bolas. I like how it's a goblin. The most powerful card probably was Soul Ring. Cards busted. Being able to just tap everything down. Pretty darn good. But yeah, I hope you had fun watching this video, and I'll hope you check us out next time if we do another one of these. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.